I'm going to show you a little trick about the bobbin sensor in this machine. Now, when you've been sewing and the message comes up that you're out of bobbin and you look down in here, you notice that, well, you notice thread and you're like, why is it going off? Well, here is the trick. When you look at a bobbin, and there is a kind of a top part, a ridge up here, and then a bottom part. So when we start to fill this bobbin, it fills the top part first, and when that's full, it can jump down and fill below. When the machine sees through the bottom part, that's when the sensor goes off. So the idea is that we want less thread to be left up here at the top. Here's my little trick. So I'm going to just take this thread. We're going to take out our full bobbin because, well, that's full. And we're going to just take, and we're going to go ahead and wind part of a bobbin. So we'll be able to get that message to pop up. So just take your thread, go through the bobbin from the inside to out. Go ahead and set it on there. Push it to engage it. Now, as soon as it starts to wind, and I might go a little slower just to show you how this is going to look. I'm going to let it go around the top a few times, and then I'm going to touch this thread to jump it below that little ridge and start filling below, not let it fill up top. And then that way when it's done, it will have very little thread left. Usually I'm left with maybe 12 to 18 inches. So watch how this is going to go. So I'm going to start to wind, and then I'm going to tap my finger so it bounces down to the lower part, and I'm just going to put a little thread on there, just enough so, oh, there we go. So when we start to sew, we don't have to sew too much to see this. Great, so I clipped off the little top, slid this back, cut our thread. Okay, so the message is going to come up fairly soon, so we'll see how far I have to sew before we get that message all the way up. And then we'll show you how much thread is left on the bobbin. Great. Okay, so how about for fun, let's go ahead and pick a zigzag, so a little bit more of a back and forth, and we'll make the width wider. Use up that thread faster. Okay, here we go. Side to side. We're using up bobbin thread. Might take a second here. We'll go back the other way. Needle down, turn the corner. There's the message. Bobbin thread is low. Now, if you have a bobbin that you have not done this little trick on and you realize, oh, there I can sew to the end of my seam, just don't check or touch the green check mark. Leave this message on the screen and it will let you keep sewing. Now, if you're doing this new trick though, I would recommend probably changing your bobbin sooner than later. Let's go ahead and see what we have left. So we have just, you can see that sensor went through the bottom part because there was just a little down there. But look how little is left up top. So as we unwind it, we only had about that much thread left once this message popped up on our screen. Now with embroidery thread that's a lot finer, you're going to realize that that's going to fill up a lot of yards up at the top here. So this is a great trick to use, especially when filling your bobbins with bobbin thread. Not as crucial for sewing thread because it's a little thicker, but if you get in the habit, start to wind it, tap it down, you're going to end up with hardly anything left when the message comes up.